Hello, welcome to my ecosystem exploration project. Today I'll take you on a journey through my backyard ecosystem located in Alton, Ontario. We'll explore the different living organisms, how they interact, the non-living factors that support them, and the threats they face. This presentation also includes an audio component created through coding, so let's get started. The goal of this project is to explore, analyze, and evaluate the health of a local ecosystem. To analyze the health of my backyard ecosystem by studying its biodiversity, abiotic factors, food web, and human impact. We'll cover producers, consumers, decomposers, abiotic factors, food webs, human impacts, and a final conclusion of the health of my ecosystem. The spheres in the ecosystem. This ecosystem includes interactions between all four Earth spheres. Atmosphere provides oxygen and carbon dioxide, which are essential for breathing and photosynthesis. Lithosphere. It includes the soil and rocks that support plant growth and homes for animals like worms and groundhogs. It has a hydrosphere, which includes rainwater and small bird bath that hydrates the animals and helps plants grow. It also has a small puddle of water on the pool. It also has a biosphere, which includes all living organisms, plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms. These spheres constantly interact to keep the ecosystem running smoothly. Producers. Producers are plants that use sunlight to create energy through photosynthesis. They form the base of the food web. In this ecosystem, producers include maple trees, moss, white pine trees, dandelions, grass, fern, wildflowers like black-eyed Susan, algae from my bird bath, a dogwood bush, and the most interesting is clover. I chose clover as my interesting plant because it doesn't feed herbivores. It also adds nitrogen to the soil, improving fertility. That helps all the plants nearby to grow stronger. Primary consumers. Primary consumers are herbivores. They eat the producers. In this backyard ecosystem, they include a rabbit, caterpillar, deer, aphids, groundhogs, and squirrels. I found squirrels to be interesting. Squirrels are not just cute. They're important to the ecosystem because they scatter and bury seeds, which helps grow new plants. They're also for predators, linking lower and higher levels in the food system. They live in trees and ground nests. They eat nuts, seeds, and bark. They are hunted by hawks and foxes. Their niche is the seed dispenser, prey. Secondary consumers. They eat the herbivores. In this ecosystem, we have blue jays, raccoons, skunks, garter snakes. Let's talk about the garter snake. It's fascinating because it helps control pest populations like caterpillars and insects, but it's also prey for animals like hawks and foxes. This makes it a key connector in the food web. Tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers are top predators. They eat other consumers and help control the population and species below them. In this ecosystem, we have an owl, a fox, and a red-tailed hawk. My interesting species here is a red-tailed hawk. It has excellent vision, hunts rodents and snakes, and plays a vital role in keeping the ecosystem balanced by preventing overpopulation of smaller animals. They live in trees and open areas, eat squirrels, snakes, and birds, and don't have any predators. They are the apex predator. Their niche is top predator. Decomposers. Decomposers break down dead plants and animals, returning nutrients to the soil. In this ecosystem, they are fungi, like mushrooms, and earthworms. The earthworm is my special focus. They improve soil structure, mix organic matter, and help create rich, healthy soil for plants to grow. Without decomposers, the ecosystem would become quickly unhealthy. They live in the soil, they eat dead leaves and organic material, and their niche is that they improve the soil health and its structure. Here are some abiotic factors. Abiotic factors are non-living things that shape the environment. Here are 5 important ones in my ecosystem. Sunlight, which provides energy for photosynthesis, helping plants to grow and support the food web. It fuels photosynthesis and provides warmth. Soil, which holds nutrients and provides a place for plants to root and decomposers to live. Air, or O2 and CO2, which includes oxygen for the animals and carbon dioxide for the plants. It's used for respiration. Carbon dioxide is needed by plants for photosynthesis. Water, from the rain or the bird bath in my ecosystem, which is essential to all living things, supports hydration, nutrients transport, and aquatic habitats. And temperature, which affects how species grow and behave throughout the year. These elements work together to support all life forms. Now, here's a food web I created based on the organisms I observed. Here are the producers in mine: grass, dandelions, clover, and some other wildflowers. Primary consumers in here are the rabbit, deer, and caterpillar. Secondary consumers in here is the blue jay, garter snake, raccoon, and skunk. Tertiary consumers in here are the owl, fox, red-tailed hawk. The decomposers in here are the fungi and earthworms. Energy flows from plants to herbivores to predators, and finally, back to the soil through decomposers. It shows just how connected everything is. A change in one level affects all others. The invasive species I chose was the European starling. One threat to this ecosystem is the European starling. These birds were introduced from Europe and have spread across North America. They push out native birds by taking over nests and eating their food. That reduces biodiversity and disrupts the food web. People try to manage them by removing nests and limiting their food supplies. They were introduced in the 1800s by settlers from Europe. They outcompete native birds for nesting spaces, eat native insects and fruits. The plan to help manage them is nest box management and habitat restoration. Pollution in my ecosystem. Pollution is another major threat. In my backyard, I found examples like fertilizer and pesticide runoff from lawns. These pollutions can get into the soil and water, harming worms, insects, and even plants. Pollution also travels up the food web. For example, toxins in the soil can end up in predators like hawks or owls through bioaccumulation. Finally, we have my final statement. This is my ecosystem health summary. My goal was to assess the health of my backyard ecosystem in Alton, Ontario. I observed and researched abiotic and biotic factors, mapped out a food web on Canva, and identified human impacts and evaluated biodiversity. My backyard showed moderate biodiversity with producers and some consumers and decomposers. While the ecosystem lacks a large body of water, small sources like bird baths and pools can support basic hydration. Invasive species and pollution pose some risks. Overall, I believe my ecosystem is moderately healthy, but human impact, like pesticide use, must be reduced to protect biodiversity and sustainability. Here is my ear sketch code. For the creative part of this project, I've used a platform called EarSketch to write a short piece of music. I used code to combine nature-inspired sounds and loops, creating a peaceful background track that plays during this presentation. It represents the harmony and rhythm of the natural world. Thank you for listening to my ecosystem exploration. I learned how every plant, animal, and even the air and soil play an important role. The food web shows how life is connected and how pollution or invasive species can cause damage. In conclusion, my backyard ecosystem is mostly healthy, with good biodiversity and natural balance. However, like many ecosystems, it needs our care and attention for it to stay that way. Thanks again, and I hope you enjoyed exploring nature with me.